Franchise Thursday here at Off Slate Studios, or we like to call it Avatar Day. Yeah, but not that episode. No.
One day it will be, and they won't know what to say.
I don't know how else I'm gonna get my spiel after that. But you know what today is? Today's a really good day because we're watching The Siege of the North, baby.
Yeah. It's funny how you define that as a good day. Lots of people get attacked and their homes get destroyed.
But we get to watch it,
and some people die.
But we get to watch it.
And there's a fish that dies.
Oh, fish fried. He really does. Just let it go now, and then I go, ooh.
That's probably the most harsh moment yet in this franchise.
A fish.
Maybe even the most harsh moment, period. Because it's pretty
gruesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really.
And it's pretty malicious, and
I remember the first time watching this finale with the fish and all those scenes, and it just. It shook me.
It's that first moment where you recognize that Iroh is more for the greater good than his own country. Mm-hmm. Just because remember he's saying if you take that out, you lose the balance. We need the balance.
It's the whole point. Oh,
doesn't it kind of walk that back when we get to the end of book 2 though?
For Iroh?
Yeah. I don't remember exactly. I remember them being in a standoff. Maybe he just sided with Zuko. No,
he didn't side. Remember, he fights Zuko and Azula off so Aang and Katara can get away.
Well, that's right.
Yeah, spoilers, by the way. Of course.
We've seen this. I've seen this probably 5 times.
Yeah, just in case someone was listening. It's I don't know. We've been spoiling things in the future every single episode.
Yeah, I mean,
it's hard to talk about this without talking about the entirety of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is. If you're watching, I'm sure.
Just like how we talked about how last week, how the necklace came back and made those episodes better than Jet.
I feel like you're adding a certain person.
Are you projecting right now?
Projecting? Maybe. I don't know. But I am adding a certain person.
I thought so.
Well, maybe we should get to our own projecting. Literally watching the episode.
Segue. Nicely done.
Yeah, see, teaching you how to do things today.
Okay, Jared. On that note, let's
take a bite.
And ladies and gentlemen, we just watched The Siege of the North, Part 1.
The show is so good.
The show is so good. When it's so good, it's so good. I love every part of this.
There's really no turning back from this episode.
Yeah, this is the big turning point.
Yeah, this is where it becomes real. This is where it's okay, they're gonna let us do our whole story. Let's full send.
I'm a sucker for finales. I always love it when just everything you've been building toward. I mean, everyone loves your big explosions, your finales, your climaxes, or whatever. They pull it off so well. And I know Jared specifically mentioned just because where I'm going to start. In the sorry.
What are you going to stop
that?
that?
I'm just getting really I'm amped, I'm jittery. What was I going to say? Yeah, you pointed it out, and I was thinking it's so flippin' cool when they start to show up, when the Fire Nation starts to arrive. You see the ash starts to fall.
That's a really interesting way, like you were saying, to introduce that.
It's just a cool thing to have where it's
it's also really the only time that they do it. It makes sense that it's the only time that they do it. But
did they do it at the beginning of the book? Okay.
Yeah, I think they did it when they were when they first got...
again, a nice bookend.
Yeah.
But it is just such a cool effect.
I still kind of wonder why the southern tribe is so small if the northern tribe is so big.
I think.
And is there an eastern tribe?
Very interesting.
Eastern tribe or a western tribe, anything like that? I mean, there clearly is with the Airbenders.
I think it goes with just mostly where the poles are, because that's where you have the most ice, the most water.
You sure about that anymore?
Well, nowadays it's certainly
there's plenty
different.
Of water.
That's true. There is going to be plenty of water. Yeah.
I was saying, I think early on, the first 2 episodes, I might have brought up why are they so tiny? And I think both of you are like, oh, no, there's got to be others. And I'm like, I don't know. That there's nothing else. They're like one group of like 20 people.
There was others, and then they left to go fight the Fire Nation.
Just the men.
Yeah.
I'm saying like I was saying like there's such a tiny little group though. Even with the men there, it's not that many.
Is Antarctica a larger continent than
I would assume
the North Pole?
The North. Well, it's not just the North Pole. Because
huge.
That's what I thought. So maybe it seems more desolate because there's more area to cover.
Which if there's more area, that usually means it's bigger.
I'm just saying. I'm trying to argue for the other way.
Well, this is not Earth, remember, for the show.
That is
this
also
might be
true.
Earth.
It's like
it might be Earth.
It's like a Earth, but a slightly different dimension.
It's like if Scrat didn't cause Pangea to split with his acorn.
Oh, that's right, though.
That was based on a true story, wasn't it?
Scrat is the reason for continental divide.
Yeah.
Was that was before he got in the spaceship?
Yeah.
That checks out. That makes sense.
Yeah, I think I had mentioned early on though, like, are there any other like tribes that are like the tribe technically is the whole thing, but are there other like little villages? Because I don't think we ever see them in this show. And Korra, I don't remember. I was just wondering, like, it's just so small.
Korra, you only see the north too.
Because the north is huge.
That's what makes me wonder if she does come from the south.
I also really like the design of the North Pole. It's cool. Like it's kind of like Naples, where like you can still have like little like waterways through it. You still really
Venice,
yeah.
Venice. Thank you for.
Let me see. Is the North Pole bigger than Antarctica? Naples over Venice. Man, you're on a roll. You said one more thing. I
never said I was good at geography.
We know you're not.
It's just cracking me up.
I knew it was one of the Italy cities, and I was right.
Close enough.
Yeah, it's one of the bigger names.
Yes, the design is pretty cool.
It is. Yeah, I like that. And it's, oh my god, especially seeing just everything crumble with the big fireballs coming. It just realized like, oh crap, like this is easily the biggest battle that we've gotten yet.
Oh yeah.
And I just love big battles.
Is this the biggest thing we have until Day of the Black Sun?
No. I mean, as far as like a battle between them.
That's what I mean. The
specific battle.
The biggest number of people fighting.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the largest fighting groups until Day of the Black Sun. I can't think of anything in Book 2 that has this many, because even the drill, it's only the drill. And there aren't a ton of
but the guys with the hands.
Guys, the Dialees?
Yeah.
Even then, they're a small secret police.
That's fair.
I was just thinking, in terms of scale, I think Day of the Black Sun is the next time we get something this big. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, after that, it's the finale. Yeah. And of course, it's the Book 1 finale, so everything's been building to this.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. Man, I just want to watch the next part right now, but that's not until next week. It's I
know.
I just want to keep going.
I want to keep going.
Zuko has Aang in his clutches. He wins He wins the duel just because the sun comes up.
Makes sense. That's where they
go. Cheap way to win.
I know.
Jared, I would like to point out while we were watching this episode, he was very excited because he remembered the line that Zuko says.
You rise with the moon, I rise with the sun. That's one of the one line from the finale, the 2-part finale that I remembered from being a kid.
Why does that stick with you? I have to ask.
I don't know.
I'm just so curious.
I don't ask questions about that.
With the moon, I rise with the sun.
I had forgotten completely about Yue's husband to be.
Yeah.
Like, when they showed him when he stood up during the who will go on the mission, I remember thinking, like, why does he look familiar? And then when he and Sokka butt heads, I go, oh, yeah, this is jerk. I remember this jerk. And I do remember thinking, like, Sokka was so abruptly taken off, but I didn't remember why. He's like, Sokka, you're off the mission. I go, jeez. But then I remember, he's got a protector. That's right.
I really half wonder, just because, like, they never said it out loud to us in the episode, but I really wonder if maybe the general was listening to the way like Sokka was talking with him or something like that, and like after they blew up at each other, it's like, I feel like you actually care about Yue more than this idiot, so you go watch after him.
I think you're probably overthinking it.
I could be, but
he never overthinks. Because remember last week, Iroh somehow knew the pirates were gonna blow up his nephew, and instead of just letting, if he knew they were coming, he probably would have said, "Hey Zuko, let's go. You're gonna get blown up." Instead of, let's stage this elaborate plan of where you could potentially die, but hey, if you escape death, let's do this.
I'm so glad I missed that conversation last week. I don't know I was looking at Mae Whitman in Arrested Development, wasn't I?
I'm just saying.
He thought they staged the whole thing with the pirates or used it. It's like, I'm pretty sure it's Zuko survived it, and then he went undercover so then he could get to the North Pole. It's not some big elaborate scheme. It's literally just...
I still wonder why he didn't firebend to try to find Zuko.
Maybe he did, and we just don't see it.
That's why I'm saying...
Again, there's a lot happening.
That's what I'm saying is because there was the plan. It's all the plan. Speaking of planning Zuko, I have to say, I don't know if this popped up anywhere else in the show other than the Blue Spirit, but you know what I love? That little the high ring ting 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 ting, like when Zuko's moving along, being all sneaky and sus. Like, you know, like the music I'm referring to.
Oh, this show's musical cues and just sound effects in general are top notch.
Do you know what I'm talking about specifically? Like the higher, like I don't know what that is, what instrument they're playing, but it gives me the perfect like sneaky and sus vibes that like he's up to no good.
My favorite was when Aang was taking down the Fire Navy ship, and the dude's about to throw his hammer at him. And you hear the little it's not the noise, but
it's almost like his
Spidey sense.
That's what I was gonna say. It's almost like his Spidey sense, which I know he doesn't have, but maybe he can like feel the air moving because he's an airbender and he could feel.
I would say he felt the wind in his hair, but I guess it's more of the wind in his air.
Also, how does Aang never get sick? He's rolling around in the snow.
That's a very good point.
Basically,
they explained it. He uses, because of his airbending. I don't remember who said it. It controls his breathing and it helps him heat his body. That's why throughout the series, whenever it's super cold, he's able to.
When did they explain that?
They don't explain it in the show. Someone explained it about the show.
It's just like a theory kind of.
Because of how he can control his breathing. He can warm himself.
I kept having to tell myself a similar thing for Zuko when he was swimming through the... And I'm thinking, just like, how is
that's a little different, I think.
That's a little more
how is he not frozen? But I realize he's a firebender, so obviously he can...
The thing is, coming out of that, you would be hypothermic. And I don't think he could control his breathing the way that portrays, but it is a cartoon.
I don't
Maybe water freezes at a different temperature in this world.
I never like when people are trapped under the ice because they get claustrophobic about it. I'm like, no.
He was never really trapped under the ice, was he?
For a second.
He has to heat it.
Oh yeah,
and get through. And I was like,
I must have looked away at that point. I have a habit of that.
I'm not specifically claustrophobic, but that does like just it scratches that nerve of like. Ugh.
And he has that moment where he's like losing oxygen, like that.
Well, did you? I also noted the way they animated his face, specifically when he was swimming and after. Like his cheeks looked like they were like cold. Like I don't know how
his face also looked blown up because he got blown up, but that's all part of the plan.
Oh my gosh!
Or the facial expression that he gave Iroh before leaving the boat.
When Iroh hugged him at like that, like right before he left the boat, I was like, "Oh, that one hit me in the feels."
And it's gonna come back in book 3 just like that, but a little different.
I know. I love that.
That little moment where Iroh breaks up. He's like, I thought about when I lost my son. I go, oh man. Every time he brings it up, I just that cuts
soldier boy.
Oh, don't start that! Don't you dare start that! I'm gonna get crying on here. But I guess, is there anything else you want to mention about this episode before we jump into, We're not going to jump into it now, but we're going to.
It was funny, Jake, when right in the middle of fireballs descending upon the city, UA decides this is the point to get all soap opera with Sokka about I don't feel comfortable with this. And Jake's like, really? Is this really the time to be doing this? Like, that high drama show. Yep. Yeah.
They really could have done that in any other part.
I mean, technically, they should have done it at any other part.
But no. First think of all of that when there's giant fireballs.
And why wasn't the dude running out there to save her? I mean, he is betrothed to her.
I guess it's just... Well, what's his name again? Do you remember this
I
guy's
don't
name?
remember.
It was like...
Chew? No.
It started with a D, didn't it?
Like, I was going to say... I wanted to say Hans, but I guess...
Hans. Yeah, that's right.
That definitely doesn't...
That is right.
It is?
It is.
I was right?
Because I remember thinking, Hans, Dickey's going to make a Han Solo joke, and you didn't.
Or a Frozen joke.
Yeah. Well, Frozen joke would be more applicable for this, I think.
Yeah, that's true. Well, there's no carbonite, though, so he wouldn't be able to get frozen.
There he goes. I was right. Although that was kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy.
You really
Okay,
kind
the
of
socials.
Okay, so thank you for listening for today's episode, and yeah, next week is the big finale where there's even more cool stuff. But before next week, if you want to watch some funny posts and some TikToks and some entertaining posts, where can you find us?
Waiting for it. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the funny TikTok. See some of Dickey's freezing cold takes. And you can listen to us on Google and Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and hey, on YouTube, like, subscribe, comment, ring our bell, rate us, and comment or whatever on all those other things, and check out our groovy website. Dickey runs it.
Absolutely. So, yes, I am excited. Next week is second part, guys. Please go watch it and then tune back in as we cover the finale of Book 1 of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Woo! Very excited for that. So, next week, when we post it at 1 p.m. on Thursday, or whenever you want to,
take a bite.
Ow.